For the fans, by the fans. Welcome to the only Angels postgame show that keeps it real, win or lose. No filters, no fluff, just raw reactions right after the final out. The golden Stamos is polished up and somebody's about to take it home. A clutch hit, a game-saving grab, or just straight up hustle. We see you. But if you played like trash, you're getting the dreaded Nacho Night Award. We saw the missed calls, we saw the blown saves, the clutch moments, and the disasters too. Your comments are front and center, and yeah, we read all of them. Wanna let loose? Call in and sound off live. No scripts, no suits, no spin. This is raw, this is real, this is where the fans take over. This is the HITI postgame show with Todd Fox. For the fans, by the fans.
I'm a fox. My name's Todd.
Hey, welcome into a late post-game show here with your host, Todd Fox, on the Halos in the Infield post-game show. Had some things come up today, but it is all good. The game was over actually about, let's say 6 hours ago, and the Angels blew a golden opportunity with a 2-game swing. Instead of being 3 games under 500, closer to first place with most of the AL West losing, the Angels come up big time short after scoring 9 runs and now are 5 games under 500, coming home to a place where they are 5 games under 500 at 10-15. A rough game this morning. I was this close to taking off work and actually just watching it. When the series came up, I was like, you know what? I think I will take that day off. It's midweek. I can enjoy some fun at home and play a little hooky from work, and maybe the Angels will wet my whistle by getting a victory. But no, they buttercupped in a phenomenal way. There's a lot to talk about in this game. What went wrong? What could have went right? The series just felt like it could have been a sweep either way. Boston could have swept us. We could have swept them. In the end, it was just tough because you had pitchers who have been dying for run support, and when we gave it to them, they couldn't hold on to it. And then you could throw in the aspect, the umpiring was some of the shittiest we've seen in a long time. I know we've had a shitty umpire here and there that has squeezed the pitchers, but this entire umpiring crew just had a minuscule strike zone, and it was really making things tough on our pitchers. And then, going into this series, our rotation was at an ERA of 2 point something on the road, and our bullpen was under 2. It was like a 1 point something. And boy, did we raise those ERAs just today. Nate says on TikTok, a big series against the Mariners coming up. We got to at least get 2 out of 3. Going to an Angels-Yankees game for a school trip, Nizzle says, enjoy New York, the Bronx. If you never got to go to the original New York Stadium, you're missing out, because the new one I heard is big time corporate. Nate also says, Ward to the Padres. How do we feel about this? If it were to happen, it all just comes down to what we get out of it, because again, I'm not a fan of him. Some of you are. I think he's fool's gold. Right when you think he is got it, he's turned the page. He's learned to adjust to the pitchers. It looks like he's doing his homework. It looks like he could lay off the slider. It looks like he's playing better defense. All that falls apart. He goes back into his bad ways, standing there taking strike 3 right down the middle. And then he'll get ultra aggressive, and then he starts fouling balls off to the right side because they're pitching him away. He gets back into all his bad tendencies, but when he's on, he's on. No one can debate that. I just wish he would stop regressing. I wish he would just find his game and stick to it until they change things up on him. But it seems like when a team forgets that Ward can't hit the outside slider and all this other stuff and stop throwing it in his comfort zone, it seems like they adjust to it, and they're like, hey, let's switch it up on Ward. And then he goes back into a regression. So it's tough. Getting back to the game, we'll go over what happened in the game all the way through the scoring plays, because there's a lot of them. And the fact that they lost a game they should have won. I mean, this was easily a game they should have won tonight or today. And losing scoring 9 runs and 12 hits, 2 errors, allowing 11 runs and 12 hits. You never thought this game was safe. And there was a couple things that really pissed me off about this game, and that is the opportunities lost with because maybe the umpires were squeezing Soriano. He really needed a win. And unfortunately, the Angels scratch across 4 in the first inning, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself. The scoring plays were like this. Schanuel doubled to center. Neto scored. It's quickly 1-0. Ward would homer a 3-run shot or 2-run shot to make it 4-0 after Trout had singled. And you're like, okay, this game's in good hands. Soriano's been pitching really good lately. But the first 5 or 6, 6 guys for Boston reached. And before you know it, it's 5-4. And then the second inning starts. Neto triples right away. Newman would score. It's 5-5. Then Schanuel doubles Neto in. It's 6-5. Ward hits the sacrifice fly. It's 7-5. And you're like, game not over, but hey, it looks like we're going in a punching match. We're going to go back and forth, which is great. Boston got a sacrifice fly to make it 7-6. Navarez would single to knock Soriano out to make it 7-7. Ohapi in the 5th inning would just get us right back in the lead, 8-7. But then in the 7th inning, Toro got a sacrifice fly with the bases loaded to make it 8-8. Newman would single a clutch hit in the 8th inning to make it 9-8, only for Devers to single to center to tie it. And then Rafaela homer to right field down the Pesky Pole. He only hit that 308 feet as it got over the Pesky Pole to win it in the 9th inning, 11-9. Pitchers for the Red Sox. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pitchers. For the Angels, you had Soriano, 3 2/3, 7 runs, 8 hits, all earned, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, 99 pitches in not even 4 innings because he was getting squeezed and he could not hit his spots and he was all over the place. Bad start for him. Strickland, an inning and a third, the only pitcher to have a clean everything. 4 outs, 14 pitches, and he didn't allow anything. Algigari, 2 1/3. He allowed 2 runs, but none were earned. 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Those 2 runs came on an error. Then Burke gave up the 2-run homer, 3 hits in 1 innings pitched. Total pitches thrown, 194 by the Angels, 156 by the Red Sox. Is never good when you throw more pitches than the other team. The Angels went 7 for 11 with runners in scoring position. When does that ever happen for our Halos? But it did happen tonight or today, but they still weren't able to take advantage. The Red Sox went 6 of 14. They left 7 men on. The Angels left 6 men on. You had 4 walks by the Angels, but they gave up 5 walks. They didn't strike out 10 times, which is a plus, 8 times. But if you look at it, you had Neto go 2 for 5. You had Schanuel with a really good day, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a walk, on base 3 times. On base 3 times also, Mike Trout, 2 walks, 1 hit. You had Taylor Ward with a home run and 4 RBIs. That's a good game for him. Soler left early, but he did have a hit and a walk. You had Lugo with a hit. You had Ohapi with a hit, but he had 2 more strikeouts. Adele didn't give you anything. That's the only problem in the lineup, 0 for 4. Chris Taylor even had an RBI or a single and a run scored. And Newman had an RBI, which is spectacular for him. 2 hits, raising his average to 200. But that's the scoring right there, 11-9. Where I have a problem with this team, and there's a lot of problems that I have with this team, but where I have a problem with this team right now is, and some would argue, and I want to read off what Dominic had messaged our chat, and he put his rant about what happened today. And I want to read it off because I want to see if you guys agree with me or agree with him. He says, today's loss sucks. However, I'm really over Angels fans on social media. The blame always is on Washington's bullpen management. I thought it was a good day today with a limited bullpen who has been put through the ringer. Strickland went 1 1/3, no earned runs. Aldigari went 2 1/3 with 2 errors by the defense behind him, which did kill the Angels late in the game. Those 2 errors did hurt them. Burke had tried to go 2 innings with a clean frame the night before. With limited options, I feel that the management of the bullpen was fine. Our defense was atrocious today, and Soriano was the lead to blame, the lead guy to blame, with unable to go or hold a 4-run lead. He also says, like, yeah, you could have went to Jansen in the 9th inning in a tie, but you would put yourself in the bind in the 10th inning if you score or don't, and burn a total of 2 more pitchers who would be on the bump 3 straight days. Now, he's sticking up for the pitching decisions. And here's what I have to say about that. Now, where I agree with what he's talking about, where Soriano put him behind the 8 ball, and you had guys that weren't pitching up to their, what they should have been in this game. And we know they have better stats than this, right? Here's where I'm completely and utterly frustrated as an Angels fan. I used to rip Phil Nevin. I used to call him Numbnuts Nevin, and I would say on the post-game shows, I'm sick and tired of the way he manages the bullpen, the starting lineups. And then I started to do reading once he was fired about the analytics crew that came from Boston. It's a bunch of nerds who never played the game, probably played Dungeons and Dragons more than they ever watched baseball. And they made up all these fictitious stats and tried to make it like a portfolio. And they impressed the Angels and they got hired. So they're not even a real analytics team. They're like sub-fringe analytics, right? And I used to get upset with Phil Nevin because I was like, you know what? This guy's stupid. He doesn't know how to, he was famously quoted as saying we don't chase wins in regards to a specific game where the Angels had fallen down 2 runs. And in a game where they could have caught up, they decided to use a bullpen of guys who aren't set for those roles because they were quote unquote out of pitchers or they had limited arms. They didn't want to waste their arms that they did have. So they went to mediocre pitchers who then got lit up and the game was lost. And I remember being so pissed off. I was like, how can you say that? How can you not chase a win? How is that in your vocabulary as a manager? Now, I know you're not supposed to win 162 games, but you're supposed to be of the mindset to try to win as many of those 162 as possible. And when they're right there in front of you, you're not supposed to just say, well, we gave it a good 5 innings, let's let it go. So I was kicking and screaming about that and ranting and raving about how stupid Nevin is. And then I reheard that comment and I played it a couple times and I had an epiphany. That was not him saying we don't chase wins as regards to himself saying, well, I don't chase wins, thus the Angels don't chase wins. You know what it was? It was sarcasm and a shot towards the overall organization. Those StatCast nerds upstairs in Anaheim Stadium dictate what happens, and he was more of a puppet. He was not in control of the Angels, and thus he made that comment because he was just as frustrated as we were. Nevin, being an old school manager, wants to get every win he possibly could, but he couldn't do it. He was hamstrung. And now that I look back at Ron Washington's success in Texas and wherever else he was as a bench coach, in Oakland and in freaking Atlanta and several other places as a player as well. I mean, Ron Washington has like 50, 60 years in this league, maybe 50. He's not stupid. You don't change overnight unless you're following a script. And what just blows my fucking mind, and this is another reason why I had to come on later, I was irritated after this game for a good 3 hours. I don't think I could have, even if I was off, do the show. Because I was so angry to know that this team has earned nothing. We are not the Mets. We are not the Dodgers. We're not the Padres. We're not the Yankees. We don't have a history of recent playoff success to where you could say, oh, okay, well, we're playing the Cubs. We beat them the first 2 games. We can rest some of our stars and starters in game 3. And if we win, hey, it's gravy. If we don't, it's experience for the other guys, and we'll catch them on the next series. We already won this series. Let's move on, right? I get that if you're the Dodgers, if you're the Padres, you know, you're close to first place or in first place. I get it. Sometimes you do need a mental day off. But when you have played literally some baseball that is not up to par with the other teams in the division, and you're chasing these teams, every game counts. You've already given away a handful of games as it is. And you're 5 games under. You could have cut that to 3 games under. And you had a chance to step on your opponent's neck and curb stomp them and take the series at their house, build momentum, and come home. And you're granted a day off. So it's not like we're just leaving, you know, on an early day getaway to then come home and play the next night. Why are we resting guys if we have a day off tomorrow? Like literally the Angels just landed in Los Angeles, either LAX or Ontario. They just landed. So you have all of tonight to rest, all of tomorrow to spend with your family or friends before you have to go back to the ballpark 4 hours into the day to 6 hours the next day. Why are we sitting players when we didn't deserve to sit players? And you can say, well, Todd, this guy pitched 2 games in a row. There's only one guy that I would give an excuse to, and that is Reed Detmers. Why? He pitched 2 nights in a row, Todd. Yeah, because he's a starter converted into a reliever. You don't want to damage his arm. He's actually been pitching good. So if you had to ask me, was there one guy that you would say, no, damn it, that guy has to sit? It's Reed Detmers. Because he's not used to going back to back to back. So on the radio side, when I was at work and I was listening to the guys goobying it up on the radio, literally they were saying, well, yeah, Mark Langston in his gooby voice, hey, you know, I would like them to use Jansen like everybody else, but Jansen he hasn't pitched 3 games in a row since, and I was expecting him to say, well, 3 or 4 years ago, since last year with Boston. How many times did he pitch 3 games in a row with the Dodgers? A lot. A lot. See, that's what happens when a team wins. Sometimes, I mean, if you guys are old enough to remember Scott Shields, he was called Mr. Rubber Arm. He once pitched 5 games in a row as a reliever, as a setup guy. Why? The Angels were in the lead a lot back then and needed to keep the game where it was at so that they could get it to Frankie Rodriguez. That was a winning combination. It worked. We pitched Frankie. Dude, Frankie Rodriguez set the saves record that year. I think it was like 57 or something like that, something stupid. He had so many saves because we were using him a lot, and that's fine. Did his arm fall off? No. I think you have so many guys in this organization. You say, okay, we need to coddle these pitchers to avoid injuries and Tommy Johns. Okay, what has that gotten the Dodgers? Nothing. A lot of Tommy Johns, a lot of shoulder issues. What did it get Ben Joyce? Oh, you can't pitch that guy 2 games. We got to save him. His arm's going to fall off. Well, he only threw 12 pitches. You still can't use him the next night. Okay, we don't use it. What's going on? Second or surgery for him. He's already had a TJ before he got to us, and now he's having a shoulder or shoulder surgery. So what good is that doing? It's not really doing anything. Did we reinvent baseball? Has things changed? Yeah, there's more injuries now because guys are changing up pitches. They're trying new things, and they're trying to make it look like the same pitching motion every time. So, yeah, you're going to put strain on your arm. But that's part of the game, baby. You can't tell me that these guys can't pitch back to back to back to back. So you don't want to go 4 games. Give me 3, dude. And again, you have a fucking day off. You just pissed a game away. Well, Todd, you had errors today. You scored 9 runs. You should have won. What if they don't have to go to Aldegary? Okay, it wasn't Aldegari's fault. I get it. There was 2 errors, but guess what? He left guys on base, didn't he? He gave up hits after those errors, didn't he? What if we could have went to Brogdon? What if we could have went to another pitcher? What if we could have went to Zephyr John and then went to Kenley Jansen? Do we still have the lead? Quite possibly. Quite possibly, because you're asking a guy like Aldegari, like Kana Dana, who are starting fucking pitchers. We drafted them to start. We didn't draft them to be in the bullpen. Yet they worked their way off, and they pitched 6-7 innings through the minor leagues, and everyone's like, yeah, I can't wait to see Kana Dana. I can't wait to see Aldegari. I can't wait to see these other pitchers come through the organization. Trust me, they're going to be great. What about Clausen, who's in the organization? I can't wait to see him either. Are we going to continue to bring these starters up just to use them as relievers? Now, I get Detmers, because Detmers was flat out ass all year last year as a starter. So you had to do something different, and you tried him out as a reliever, and for right now, it's working. But to throw these kids into the fire in tie ball games, in pressure situations, you're asking Aldegari, best case scenario, they even said it on the radio, if they could, they would let Aldegari finish. And that's after he came in the 6th inning. So you're asking that kid to effectively close that game out in Fenway, not Florida, in Fenway, not Sacramento, in Fenway. That's a lot of pressure. I don't understand this organization, dude. Like you have literally let the idiots that are supposed geniuses run the asylum. I don't believe the power is in Ron Washington's hand by far. And I really don't think it's totally in Perry's hands as well. It's sort of like they're just all puppets, dude. And going back to Nevin, I got so upset because I was like, man, we don't chase wins. I hated that comment. I was like, how could you say that? You know, this team hasn't won anything for a while. You got to be trying to get as many W's as possible. But now I'm like, no, it makes sense now. That was a sarcastic ass remark to an organization that doesn't know the meaning of winning. It knows banana baseball. It knows $49 tickets to go to any game you want because tickets don't matter. Only concessions and parking and merchandise do. Because why? Arnie Moreno loves one color and not his own race. He loves the color green. And whatever can make him green, that's where he goes. The smart owner would understand that if you put something good on the field, it doesn't matter if all the players' names were named after ketchup, mustard, they were condiments, barbecue sauce, if all their last names sounded like that or looked like that. Those barbecue jerseys would be flying off the shelves if this team was winning. You would be making a lot more money on parking. You would be making a lot more on the beer sales because people would want to be drinking a beer while they're watching barbecue hit a home run. I mean, we have a guy named Trout, and we had another guy named Salmon. Those jerseys, I'm told, sell really good. So if you had a puffer belly or if you had a shark, those would sell too. I don't understand the owner nowadays that just wants to put monster trucks out there in February, Christmas in June, fun K runs, bobbleheads of the same guy over and over. I don't understand how you just can't realize that people love this team not for the Pac-Man right field pavilion games. They love this team because it's part of them. It's their city. It's what represents them. It's what they represent. And when the team is good, it's a good bragging point. It brings people together. It's fun. You grow up with a generation that loves baseball, that can get into it. You emulate these players. Your kids growing up love these players. That's where you make the money. That's where you get the fans. That's where you get your business. I don't understand why you would not want to put a winner on the field. And if your ass is that cheap or you can't make money doing it, then sell to someone who can. Get that money and run. It'd be a lot less headache for you, Artie. This whole analytics bullshit, and that's what's so frustrating too, because you can see the potential. This division sucks so bad. I have not seen it suck this bad in quite a long time. It is literally there for the taking if the Angels wanted it. But just like every other team in this division, they can't put it together long enough to pull ahead. Seattle and Houston keep leaving the door open for shitty teams like Texas and the Angels, who have problems. All four teams, because I'm not counting Sacramento, have problems. They have their upsides, and you're like, hey, this team has potential. They could do something. But then you look at them and you're like, what? They have that and that holding them back. And the Angels are no better than any of them. But you could see if they go on another 8-game run, they're right there. They're absolutely right there. But it's frustrating because they can't put it all together. They're in their own way. It seems like when they figure stuff out, like when they were on the road in San Diego, Los Angeles, and Oakland, they come home and go back to swinging for the fences, not being patient. The pitching stayed the same, but the hitting changed everything back to the way it was. And then all of a sudden they go to Fenway because they were struggling in Cleveland, and everything goes back to, hey, Schanuel's taking like 7 or 8 pitches before he, gets a walk or a hit. Taylor Ward's starting to hit. Mike Trout's tearing the cover off the ball. They're not swinging for the fences. Lo and behold, they're winning games again. What's going to happen when they come home? Are we going to hit the reset button again? But for what? You found a good thing. Ride it out till the other team effectively takes you out of that. No, we just go right back to the same, and it's glaring. You can glaringly tell. You can easily tell that they have gone back to the same shit because the team's innings are like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But when they're on their game, they're at least getting a guy on to 2 guys on, and they're pressuring the other pitcher. They're making the defense work, and that's how they're scratching out runs, multiple runs. This game was tough. I would have been kicking and screaming right now. I've been yelling. I was so frustrated after this one because it's another one you let go. That's another one you just said, I don't give a shit about winning. This guy's not available. That guy's not available. Why? You have a day off. It makes no sense. It's just like when they say, well, Trout can't play today. We're giving him the day off. Guess who comes to pitch hit in the 8th inning? Why'd you give him the day off then? If he's just going to pinch hit. It's the same logic. It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to sit him, sit him. But no, they still are like, no. My blood always boils with this team. It makes me miss the days of fucking Socia. Vasquez says, is a $49 battle pass worth it? Depends. It depends. I mean, how much you can take of this team. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of Deos. And by the way, speaking of Deos, we had to do the 21 gun salute even in a loss. We had 9 of these sons of bitches. Deo! Deo! 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 9 Deos right there for 9 runs. The seats, I heard Vasquez are in the 400s or 500s. So Where can I see the prospects thrown to the Wolves in high leverage, high intensity situation? What? Well, Aldegari, dude. Kana Dana. A lot of these guys that you're bringing up that were rookies. Neris was a closer, I guess, briefly in the minors. He was up in Philly. You're bringing him in and just expecting him to flourish when he doesn't have an out pitch. I don't understand. I don't understand what the Angels do. I really don't. Vasquez says section and row. I don't know the sections or rows, but I just know 400s and 500s are upper deck for sure. That's the part of that $49 plan, but you're still paying $20. Griffin Canning looking good with the Mets. Yes, because what they did is told him to throw his slider more. 70% of the time he throws his slider now, and now he's got a freaking ERA of like 2 something. Oh, yeah, before I get into the comments, I'm already trying to read comments. That's how much I'm thrown off right now. Don't worry, Todd. The season starts tonight.
We got a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight.
Absolutely.
Oh no! What happened? Oh no! How terrible! That's just awful! How terrible! Oh no!
Who gets the award tonight? You know, usually this is a night-by-night basis. Wait, Vasquez says you got a day podcast or just a post game? I got a podcast too. If you go on YouTube here on the, you can find the, what is it called? The regular podcast that we produce. And we also have Halos in the Infield over on Apple, iTunes, all the good ones. Wherever you listen to podcasts, chances are we're on it. You know, I'm going to give the award out to a guy who earned it for the series. Not the guy who hit the winning home run because that Pesky Pole's bullshit. It went 308. I'm going to give it to a guy who pissed me off with his little, you know, like every time he got a hit and he was just peppering the goddamn left side, getting on base, just being a total douchebag. But I'm going to give it to Duran. You know, like him or hate him, Jarren Duran's a good player. And again, if he's doing this against anybody else, I'm all for it. I'm rooting for him. But when he does it to your team and he's showing up your players, it kind of pisses me off. So Duran gets the star of the game because, he was on 3 more times today. He was just lighting us up. Who got Nacho night?
Nacho night, oh yeah, Nacho night. Pile it up, load it high. Extra shame, hold the pride. Grab a fork, take a dive. Dignity's gone, but the cheese survived. It's the Nacho Night Award.
Well, there it is, the Nacho Night Award. It's going to go to Soriano. I mean, come on, dude. I mean, this guy has been begging for run support. And yes, he's a good pitcher, and I want him to be that number 2 guy in the rotation moving forward. But when you put out a 3 2/3 and you give up 7 runs, all earned, and yes, you were helped out by the umpires with your struggles, still, I mean, you got to trust your stuff and go after these hitters. And man, oh man, he just did not have it. He threw 99 pitches in 3 2/3. So bad game for him. He gets the Nacho night, and I hate giving it to an Angel, but man, sometimes you just got to do it because you can't. The ball doesn't lie, and it didn't lie today for the Angels. All right, so that being said, let's move into the comments, shall we? There is no Stukas tonight, believe me. Useless Trucker leads off with Soler left the game with an injury. Oh, dear. Angel fans hope he never comes back here. A terrible guy. He missed every swing. Now we get to cheer. Let's give him a wing. The wing. Demetrio says what we needed earlier and we need now. It's Spritz o'clock. Time for a botanical spritz.
Spritz o'clock, Angels play. Win or lose, we toast today. Sip and cheer, no matter score. Spritz o'clock, let's pour some more. Spritz o'clock, let's pour some more.
Yes, Spritz o'clock. Useless Trucker says Todd Fox said Ward was done, no more to see, but somehow he came through. Shockingly free. We laughed and we cheered. What a wild surprise. Even when they count him out, Ward still defies. That's a good one right there. Demetrio says, also, I'm glad we won the series, but I hate losing games we should have won. Just feels that's what's going to keep happening to us out of the playoffs. J-Dog says, what a joke of a walk-off home run, and it only happens to us. LV says, let's check in on Gavin. Well, Gavin's show was long over, but we do have a new clip from him.
And so it begins again. If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist, spent 4 years covering UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin, writing articles, conducting interviews, all that good stuff. And now in year 2 with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every one of my go-tos, but it's my love. I love to eat nuts. Delicious.
Tasting nut.
Something nut. Ugh, okay, sorry. He puts me to sleep every time. Jesus says, damn, the blowpen did its job. Grillmaster says, no, the other stadium is any pro baseball league has a wall that you can hit 300 feet to win a game. Total BS. The Red Sox stole this game fair and square. Also, Lucas Giolito, still human batting practice. At least he's doing it after being on the deadline list or bust. Of course, we still lost the game. Yep, LV says, hopefully the hitting can continue versus the Mariners, and that's exactly what I want to see. Can they replicate that when they come home? I really want them to come home and do a good job here, but damn it, dude, I mean, they got to do something. They got to play better here at home. Jesus says, Taylor Ward has to go and get traded for as many players that want to play. LV says, Halos will take the series against the Mariners. You can take that to the bank and deposit it. J-Dog says, if Ward goes to a contender, it would be very interesting to see this version of Ward they get in the playoffs. I would have to say I would definitely want to see if he can replicate what he does here and make an ass of himself, or does he magically stick it to us and play much better with that new team? Luke Johnson says, there's a lot of baseball left to be played, and beach weekend is here. That's right, baby. Before the calendar and the leaves start falling off the trees in June, and the snow and Santa comes down your chimney in June, where we have Christmas at the stadium, there's beach weekend this weekend, baby.
We got a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight.
Dumb. Tyler says, wait, I thought we were so back. Also, Fox calls Ward fool's gold, shining so bright, but soon Ward will be back missing sliders tonight. Ward's regressed, lost his touch. It's plain to see, and the Angels lost a game they should have won. Saucy says this was a disheartening game. They turned into the village idiots as the game went on. Sure did. Strange says, why did Wash switch to Aldegari? Oh, I know why. Artie's shitty analytics team. Yes. Demir 20 says it's either the pitching keeps us in the game or the offense doesn't show up, or the offense shows up and the pitching can't hold a lead, and no in between. And that is 100%. Saucy says this game pissed me off today. J-Doc says Wash is actually a moron for taking Aldegari out. I don't care if Gooby would have been saying, hey, do you know he's Italian 20 times? Just the wrong decision. And you know what? Maybe it wasn't Aldegari's fault, but do you really want that dude in that spot? This guy's supposedly a future pitcher in your rotation, and you're using him like a bullpen hand. It's mismanagement each way. And then the only fiery stuff, and then here's something I want to bring across to you guys and gals out there. Do you guys realize that there was an argument or a fight with Anderson and also the first base coach for the Boston Red Sox, which then got Barry Enright, the pitching coach, to get in the first base coach's face for the Red Sox? That altercation happened early in the morning in Boston because Anderson accused the first base coach of stealing signs. Now, as far as I know, stealing signs is still legal. So he's just being butthurt and confronting the first base coach. First base coach didn't want to have nothing to do with it. Enright went to go grab Anderson. Anderson was still jawing with him. The first base coach tells Enright to go fuck himself, and then Enright loses it, and he should have. And all I'm just saying, I wish there was more of that with the Angels. You have not seen one ejection from the coaches at all, and you have not seen one coach go out there and fight for his guys when the strike zone has been terrible. That's part of why this game sucks, or this team sucks at times. Useless Trucker says, looking for tickets. Don't look too far. 714 tickets is the best so far. Best by far. Use code HITI, 10% off. Get in the game. No need to scoff. I like that. Also, how do you like the pitching matchups for the Mariners series? Well, let's take a look at them because I haven't even looked at them right now. Let's look at who goes in the pitching matchups here. Let's go your schedule. You have for our Angels versus the Mariners, you have Hendricks versus Miller. I don't know about that one, man. That one's going to be a tough one right there. Bryce Miller is sort of like Hendricks, and this one could be a back and forth game because Bryce Miller has an ERA of 5.36 with a 2-4 record. Hendricks is going with a 2-6 record with a 5.34 ERA. So very evenly matched right there, but we'll see whose hitting comes through. Then you got Kohanowitz coming off a not so good start. He's 3-7 with a 5.34 ERA. He'll either give you a good start or a shitty one. And I don't know. And Castillo is a guy that we always struggle against. He's 4-3 with a 3.3 ERA. We've only beat him once in the last few games that we've played him. And then to top it off, you have Anderson with a 2-2 record, 3.86 ERA. He would like to get back to pitching good as he'll be opposed in the last one by Kirby. Kirby is 0-3, George Kirby, coming off of surgery and whatnot, 8.56 ERA. He's been getting lit the hell up. So if you look at it in that way, it's anybody's game. The Angels could easily win 2 out of 3 or lose 2 out of 3. That's what I'm looking at right now. Rye Guy. Mateo says, what's up, Guy? Also at Dimitro, can I get a spritz clock? Oh, that was spritz clock earlier. A million monkeys with a million crayons in a million years could never create anything as retarded as the whatever's in the game, Saucy says. Grillmaster says, and me love you long time, which is Roger.
There's a lot of baseball left to be played. And the season starts tonight, which makes me so horny. And me love you long time.
There you go. Useless Trucker says, LVA watches anticipation in sight, awaiting Mariners a battle in flight. Their fate hangs in the balance. A crucial series. Will the Angels rise or fall? Only time will claim. Tyler says Newman finally hits and the Halos can't win a game. Cue freaking Lombardi. Yeah, that was tough, man. I mean, 2 hits for him is like 4 hits. No, actually 10 hits in a week for like Taylor Ward.
What the hell's going on out here?
Strange says because what the team really needed was more spreadsheets and less gut feeling because nothing says excitement like crunching numbers in the dugout and getting lit the fuck up 11-9. Mariners in the bottom of the ninth, 2 on, 1 down by 1. I think they lost right now. Angels suck. Also, Tyler's discussed. He's shaking his head. Newman finally hits, but the Angels instead blow their chance. Irony, cruel twist. They had to hit, but still couldn't resist. Balls in his mouth, balls and resting. The bullpen, balls and philosophy coaching. A lot of balls going around.
For you to check out what I want. I want balls and John Stamos.
And all that stuff. J-Dog says, I know everyone talks about how historically bad the Rockies and White Sox are, but if you consider the last decade of Angels are probably the most poorly run organization there is. That's a fair point. Someday we will be on Netflix. Trust me, someday, and a bad documentary. Mariners and Astros just lost. Another chance to pick up a game. Does that count for anything? Praying for a sweep this weekend. Luke Johnson says this organization is a complete shit show. Luke also says, what has Perry done to deserve another year? Fluff Artie Moreno, that's what. Josh says that Luke Perry has been decent at drafting, except for the 20 pitchers. Fisting the North Star, I still love that name. Frank from Barstool Sports said, great start from Canning, and I seem to think he would have called Canning a bum a year ago. He sure would have. Also, you got this could have been a 5-1 road trip instead, and should have been a 4-2 at least. It pisses me off. Yep, not getting what you should be getting. Mateo says, I just want to say if Washington is let go, I'm going to have a real problem. Josh says also, I refuse to believe Canning being good is anything other than a fluke. Yeah, I mean, for now, let's see what he does in the second half. I really want to see that, but there's no getting around it. He's been pitching pretty good for him. And coming from a giant Joe Adele believer, oh, wow. I'll take that for what it is. Samir 20 says, I knew once Burke was put back out to pitch in the 9th inning, I knew we were going to lose. Me too. LV says, everybody relax. The fucking season starts tonight, baby. That's what he likes to say.
We got a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight.
Mateo says, hey, Todd, let me cheer you up with some Sweet Caroline. Hell no. Robert says, for those who hate Perry, he has drafted well. Neto, Schanuel, Moore, Dana, and Rada. Let alone look at the trade we got from San Diego, shot down by Artie. Flipped Marsh for Ohapi. Artie hampers his success. That is true. I kind of just look a lot at those 20 pitchers. Robert does bring up very good points. And you know what? We're going to have to see what he does this draft, because I think this is one of the most important drafts in Angels baseball history. Luke Johnson says, Artie out. Time to get the sell shirts back in the rotation. Absolutely. Josh says, Artie is 80 years old. At this point, he's sticking around despite the fans. I think so. 9 runs and we lose. The fuck? Also, Mateo says, Todd, what are your thoughts on the pregame altercation? I already gave those right there. Josh also says, hoping Taylor Ward gets 25 home runs by the trade deadline so we can get something legit for him. I think so too. I think that's going to work. I was hoping that there would be a brawl before the game, and we needed one. Honestly, we did. Let's see. Y'all some hating bitches. Ward is a goat. I don't know about that one, dude. Matty V said today that Ward is making a case for an all-star. He will be an all-star. I'll tell you that right now. Tyler says, seriously, what kind of crap is that? Washington throws rookies pitchers out there to close a game. Robert says, what sign stealing is happening with pitching with the pitch com? Yeah, I know. To me, I don't know what that's what they were supposedly talking about and arguing about. It's like that's part of the freaking game. If he's hammering on trash cans, yeah, you got a problem. But he wasn't doing that last I checked. Josh says Logan Ohapi is overdue a hot streak where he hits 5 home runs in a week. I agree. But here's the thing, Josh. We want to play d'Arnaud when Hendricks pitches, which he will pitch tomorrow or Friday. And also when Kikuchi does. So, yeah, you're not seeing much of Ohapi, especially with Trout being the DH. So, Enright would have kicked that little tit mouse's ass. He would have, dude. Enright is a scary-looking dude. I got to look at him again. I didn't realize he was a handsome son of a bitch. Jeez. Luke said, did anyone ask for Gavin's resume? No, but he'll tell us right now.
Come on, everybody. My name is Gavin Carlson, former credential journalist in the LA area. How about a yummy tasting nut? If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credential journalist in the LA area. Spent not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 years covering UCLA sports, specifically with the Daily Bruin, writing articles, conducting interviews, all that good stuff. Crack into a good source of protein with how about a yummy tasting nut. I love the nut. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Had me fired up.
Oh, sorry. Randy says 11-9. The only thing that got lit up was a scoreboard. Laugh out loud. We should have won that fucking game. Mateo said, look, I'm usually frustrated with a loss, but not today. I'm never going to be mad when we lose like we did today because we played hard for 9 innings. Yeah, you did. You did. And we wanted them just to compete this year, right? And I agree with that to a point. But when you give away a game, I mean, if we didn't have a fighting chance, if we didn't I don't know, if we didn't make those errors, if we didn't make those pitching decisions, maybe this game's different and we win. Damn, 9 Deos would have been a sweet sound. I did play that earlier. Let's see. Also, you got balls and weird dimensions right there. And then you got Randy says, we better not trade Ward. Hope we retire his number after he leaves. I don't think that's happening. I really don't think that's happening. If we're not retiring Tim Salmons and other players that were great, we're definitely not retiring his number. But with that being said, we're all caught up, and let's do some scoreboard watching, shall we? Let me get over to that real quick. I was just on there. Damn it. And let's do scoreboard watching. Let's check out who's doing what tonight. As you know, the Angels lost 11-9 in 9 innings. You got the Mets beating the Doyers 6-0 in the top of the 9th inning. Good start there for the Mets, as I think they're going to take 3 out of 4 from the Doyers. The Rockies are ruining their future as they got their first sweep in nearly 2 years as they defeat the Marlins 3-2. How bad are the Marlins? The Rockies win their 12th game of the year. The Brewers all over the Reds 9-1. You had the Pirates helping us out, beating the Astros 3-0. You had the Nationals shutting out the Cubs 2-0. The shit fucks beat the Yankees 4-0. You had the Jays over the Phillies 2-1. That's a throwback series. Diamondbacks over the Braves 2-1. You had the Rays helping us out, beating the Rangers 5-4. You had the Tigers over the White Sox 5-4, and you had the Orioles helping out our division as well, beating the Mariners 3-2 in Seattle. And then you had the Giants over the Padres 6-5, and the Twins defeat the Athletics 6-1. Nobody cares about the Athletics. And then the Royals and Cardinals, regional rivals, were rained out. That game is scheduled for a doubleheader tomorrow. So look for that if you're really, really into baseball and have nothing else to do. So we're caught up so far on a frustrating night. And I'll read a couple more comments before I get out of here right now. You got whatever happened to Kyron Harrison and his magical guru swing right there, or swing guru. I don't know. He had the uppercut swing. And man, he fell in love with it. And when the pitchers found out that that's all he had, and that he couldn't flatten out that barrel head and make contact and put the bat on the ball, well, it just turned into what it is, which is home run or nothing. And that's a dude that really, with his speed, why is he not getting on base? That dude gets on base, he is a stolen base waiting to happen. I mean, you can literally hit a ball into the gap a little bit, not even getting to the warning track at some point, just rolling towards the warning track. And Kyron Paris off the bat could possibly try to make it home on one of those. And he would definitely make it there if you split the gap and it hit the wall. Guy has just got super speed. And it's a shame that he can't get on base. A realistic trade right now for Ward, it's early. I would look at Baltimore, but again, you're either going to look at it two ways. If the Angels are out of it, you're going to look to deal him to like San Diego, possibly the Dodgers, the Mets, try to get him out of the league, first of all, out of the American League, get him to the National League, get him to a contender, recoup some prospects. Same thing with Anderson. But if you're still having a fighting chance, Ward can, you could send him to a bad team and recoup a couple players because he still has a year of control. So that's what's going to make him sexy on the market. We'll see. Rockies get swept by or Rockies sweep the Marlins. That would be a Lombardi.
What the hell's going on out here?
Yes. Also, Phillies and KC need a power hitting outfielder. Phillies, if we get Moises Chase and Kansas City Mazzucato. I would take Mazzucato. I know Mazzucato. I don't know Chase too much, but yeah, I mean, anything to help out and make this team younger. Gavin's credentials are so shitty. Even his resume wants to ghost him. I love it. Also, Josh says we should have a draft. We should draft the Holiday guy if he's available. Christian Moore isn't good. Oh, wow. That's a hot take. We haven't seen him up here yet, but we'll see, man. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with having another second baseman. So, I mean, if Christian Moore doesn't get it done, and does a Joe Adele thing, you have Holiday. Robert says, catch Dom's minor league report. Got a feeling Paris will be coming up. His swing looks better. Just needed to work and sit back and make contact. Absolutely. I miss that guy. Again, I interviewed him. Nice freaking dude. Great mentality. I think he just got lost up in his own mix right there, thinking that everything was all good and he figured out baseball, but baseball figured him out. So you got to keep reinventing yourself if you want to stay in this game. Plain and simple. Some friends that I had that made it to the majors over the years, they had to reinvent themselves. They couldn't stick to what they were doing. You may be a power hitter. You may be a power hitter in high school. You might be that when you get to college, if you go to college. But when you go to rookie ball, you're humbled because now you're playing with the best of the best at every level. So you may have been the man, you may have been in the newspaper in your own city, your own town. But once you get over there, it's like, oh shit, and then to be great, you got to put in the work. So a lot of these guys don't or they just think that natural ability will get them far. It doesn't work that way. It may buy you some time, but it doesn't keep you in the game. So unfortunately, we don't want the Angels to draft guys like that. So with that being said, it's not been a fun night. It's only been a fun night because you guys and gals have been on here. It's not been fun for me as a fan watching this team blow a game and just be utterly frustrated and disgusted how this organization continues to work. I think that was one of the best comments. I think it was J-Dog that said this team for the last 10 years have been run so shitty. And I can't disagree. I can't disagree. So we're going to take the day off as we should. And the Angels, I mean, I guess my arm's getting tired. And we'll be back for sure. But check out our podcast. Like Robert said, there's the minor league report right there that came on. That's online on YouTube, also wherever you get podcasts. And then we also have our great podcast coming out tomorrow. So we have a lot of stuff out there talking baseball, whether they're playing or not. And then we'll be back on Friday evening to catch up with you on the postgame shows. And we'll see if the Angels can man up and take game one of the series with the Mariners. And let's go 1-0, baby. One game at a time. And we'll see if we can make up some ground. And by the way, last thing I got for you guys, because I always try to get out of here and it just never works because I always find something else to talk about. Max Market Pros. Who are they? Well, they are somebody that can help you get to the top of whatever small business you're trying to run. If you're having trouble getting clients or you're getting customers, if you have a small store window and then you're selling stuff or you have an Etsy or whatever like that, you have a website that's struggling, they can help you with all of that. Social media gets you to the top of the food chain. Not only that, Google does, and they're Google certified, and they work with Google to get you to the #1 search engine in the world by doing their magic, working their magic with you. They can get your company to the top of the list. So if someone's looking for a gardener in freaking Anaheim, they're going to look at you first. You know what I mean? Like that's how they do it. That's how they work. And they guarantee their business to be all about your business and to get you to the top. So Max Market Pros, go online, go to their website at maxmarketpros.com. Hit their little button for a consultation, and you can talk to someone for free about how they can get you to the top of the food chain. And also, if you're just a social media influencer and you're having a hard time getting your word out there, getting the buzz going, they can also help you with that. So hit up Max Market Pros. My boy over there is ready to help you whenever with his team. B-Train says, is it time to say that what to TF Jose Soriano? No, not yet. He just needs to freaking get his shit together. He really does. I think he's got the stuff to do it, but it is what it is, man. Also, Soriano has no excuse to have games like today with the stuff that he's got. He's got to step the fuck up. He does. Absolutely, B-Train. Good take right there, because, again, he absolutely has the stuff to be a good #2. Robert says Moore was known to have a gap power, not guaranteed a home run guy. I think his projections were 20 to 25 home runs max a year out of college. Well, look, I'm hoping that guy can be a hit for average guy and the home runs just come like Neto's. And I'd be good with that. I really would. We don't need a 50 home run guy at second base or even 40 or 30. 20 guy, I'm good with that because I think Neto's going to give you close to 30 this year. Close to it. So with that being said, everybody, we will see you Friday. Have a nice Thursday and a rest of your Wednesday night. Thanks for joining me in this little dog and pony show. Pass the word out there about Halos in the Infield. If you like it, subscribe. Please help us out on YouTube. It makes a huge difference if you subscribe and hit that little notification bell and the like, please. With that being said, everyone on X, have a good night as well, and as well as TikTok. Let's go, Angels. Let's get a W back at home, baby.